What's up, guys? Got another video for you today. I haven't done one of these in forever. It's going to be kind of a state of the meta video that we're going to be doing. The last one I did was for set 13, and we are kind of towards the end of set 14. We've had OP4 release about 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point. Set 15 is speculated to be at the end of the year, and so we're just going to go through and kind of talk about all of our thoughts on the meta and this set, and also the weird OP season that we've kind of had this year with the whole COVID thing. But I have a crack panel of Z experts. Go ahead, take it away, introduce yourselves.
I am Brandon Biggers. I got my start in Score Z back in like late middle, early high school, and been playing Pansy since set one. It's been a wild ride. Stuck through the end of the game. I'm like the only person in my play group who did. So been kind of Lone Ranger in it for a while. So, but I don't know. As far as like what I like to play, I mean, I pretty much everything. I don't. I have like deck ADHD because I never like play the same thing more than once. Obviously, like I'm kind of partial to Ramp Goku lately because I like that Super Saiyan 3 level 4. But that's kind of my latest fave. But Frieza is always close to my heart, and yeah.
Nice. Nick?
All right. Yeah. So I'm Nick O'Toole. I'm Nick Topher on online. And I have been playing since set 5, Perfection of Panini. That's when I started to play. No particular reason. I just got into the game at that point. And yeah, I fell right in love with it. It was really cool. That was just before we had that. Was it 2016 OP season?
Yeah, the final
And
one there. Yeah.
yeah. So that was just before that I got into it, and I went to every event of the OP season. That was really fun. I play black, because black is the coolest. Because Devious was there at the time, and Command was unnerfed, and you could cheese wins by doing nothing, and that's what I like to do. And I did decently in the OP season. Then the game got canned. And I tried to get people to stay with it. No one did, and that was a shame. So I only really kept up with Fancy in the Periphery for most of its lifetime. And we got to, I think it was February this year, and I got some more people interested. But they were only interested if they could play in person, and obviously, this being 2020, that didn't end up happening. So I got back into looking at things. No one else here did, and I still play black.
Nice. Yeah. Sweet. Axel?
My name is Axel Bailey. I go by NovaSpec in most groups. I am an esports player, and card games have been one of my recent ventures on the side. I played Panini at around set 2 whenever a friend of mine got me into it. I was trying to get back into some card games, and I didn't want to get into Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, or any of the other ones. So I was like, oh, Dragon Ball Z looks cool. I became the Black Krillin player of my scene. I'm originally from Lafayette, Louisiana, and I recently moved out to Texas, just getting out of Louisiana, spreading my wings a little bit. And oh yes, super solid. One of the few remaining players from Lafayette to still be playing, and just really enjoyed the game. Have been trying out Fancy. I like that Joey and the developers are still giving love to a game that like was taken away from us so soon by Super and Bandai.
Yeah.
And yeah, as of now, I'm tag team, still playing a little bit of black here and there. And yeah, just trying to find out what my next kick is for Fancy.
Nice. Well, me, kind of like I've been playing since the beginning of Pansy. I've been going through. I've been pretty active the entirety of the game. There's a couple points where I took breaks, specifically in this last like year or so. I took a bit of a break towards the fall last year, and then into the beginning of the year, into the spring, I took a pretty hard break. I got pretty burnt out. I was playing a bunch, and I had a bunch of life stuff going on. And then of course COVID happened, which made it hard, and so I took a break from like making videos and stuff. Um, but out where I live, I'm up in northern Minnesota, and I usually travel and play the guys from Kenosha. Like I said, shout out to Mike Teagues. I love Mike. He's just my homie. And Eric Gang, of course, and Cody, a bunch of other people, Nick. But yeah, as far as what I play, I've always enjoyed probably more mid range decks in general. Style wise, I was trying to really hard to like blue. I liked blue a lot in the first like 4 sets of the game. Then when like Unleash came out, like blue, I thought just sucked. So then I like switched over. I always liked Saiyan and red too. I play a lot of red. Probably play red the most. Just as like I just like the pain that it brings me every time. Every time I play it. But yeah, I have a couple MPs, that I really enjoy, like Weelo. Future Gohan, I really loved Insane for the longest time, even in Blue to an extent and stuff. And lately I've been the Dende guy, among other things that I randomly play. I'm always making random stuff. So, but yeah. All right. Well, now that we got everybody's introduction out of the way, we'll kind of move on to the main discussion. So, of course, we are in set 14 of FanZ, and we've been doing unorganized play events. That is what I think Ryan and Mark coined it as. I believe those are the two that are running, mostly trying to be the ones that are running it all. And all of us here have played in at least one of the events. Some of us multiple. I've only played in like one or two, I think. I think I played in one, but anyway. So I was gonna kind of ask you guys, how you felt about the competitive season this year in 2020 here. Brandon, if you want to take it off.
Yeah, I'm gonna give another shout out to my boy Casey too, Handsman.
Oh, Casey, I love Casey.
Yeah, he was one of the ones, because I know Ryan had pitched the idea of UOP, and then really it was like one day, I think it was in our group chat or whatever, that Casey was like, we should like do some Octagon events, and I think that he was another driving force there that kind of got that ball rolling, and also he like ran, I thought, the smoothest UOP event. But it's been fantastic, honestly, and I think that it was.
Casey did the B-Bowl, right? That was the one that he did.
Yeah. No, he did.
No, Ryan did.
Icarus Bowl. Icarus Bowl.
Icarus Soup Bowl.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, and it was run. I mean, it went really, really fast. Extremely well run tournament. And they all have been. And I think that to a certain degree, that's kind of surprising. Because I think that a lot of people. There's almost like the expected Octagon crash that's going to happen, or,
yeah.
We all just kind of cross our fingers and pray every time like we run one of these things. But I mean, it's done really well. And I think that it's really showcased a lot of the competitive scene. I think that we have a collection of, most of the best players in the game, who are able to come and compete and shit talk and have a great time. Like, that's honestly the best part, is like we just all sort of give each other a hard time and make fun of each other. And I mean, it's almost like it's the closest you can get to an in-person event, I think, right now. So.
Yeah, you're gonna say, Nick?
When your game has 20 players, aren't they all in the top 20?
I don't know that diminishes the accomplishment at all.
No, I suppose not.
Yeah.
So
I think the big thing, I know that one of Joey's big things why he didn't want to do organized play events online is because of there's a lot of players that don't want to play online, or for whatever reason. Octagon is not an intensive program to run. It's not hard to figure out Octagon. I mean, I know people start. Granted, I've been using it since I was playing at Retro Z with it for like 2 years before the Panini Z came out, so I was pretty comfortable with it. But it's not a hard program to learn, so I don't really I get the reasons why people don't like the interface. They don't like having to sit there and constantly click on stuff and drag shit around. But I really don't think it's that. I think it's a really easy way to hop in the game. With the deck editor at the very least being so accessible, having everything on, it's super intuitive and very, um, convenient. I use it a lot of times when I'm going to build IRL decks to just make it easier for myself to see everything, so I don't have to sit there and go through my binders and everything. But I think this is definitely like you were saying, Brandon. I think this year has definitely shown that I think a lot of us in the community are pretty autonomous. We can run ourselves a fair amount. It's good to still have at least one or two authority figures to make sure everything's kind of running around. So again, shout out to Casey and all those other guys for doing that, especially. But I'd like
as someone. Oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
As someone who likes to parallel the competitive scene to fighting games, I'm big into fighting games right now, and all of our offline events are just canned and in the water, and we had to just make the transfer to online. And one reason that it's a struggle because fighting games are very reaction based, timing, strict movements, and everything. And card games, you don't have to do all that. It's just drawing and planning out and playing out, and there's no real online interference outside of the octagon crashes that hinders you to be able to continue playing this game and competing in it. Most fighting games don't have the best net code or the best conditions to play online, but with the times that we have right now, we've done our best to make it work and just still continue playing what we love and building the community, creating content, and just continuing on. So with all the regular Kais being canceled, I'm glad that the community was able to come together and let's keep some competition going. Let's do this. The game's still breathing. Developers are still giving life to this game. Let's show them that there is still life to be had.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Well, I think you see there are a lot of people who care about this game, and I know we all bitch about it, and we all complain, we all jerk each other's chains all the time. But you see there are people who pop up on Retro all the time talking about Fan Z cards, and I'm like, I don't even know who that person is.
Yeah.
And
there's always a lot of lurkers that occasionally make a post, and you're like, oh, hi, who are you?
For sure.
Like ASL, kind of shit with them, and it's fun.
What's your tag on Octagon?
Yeah, right. What's Octagon?
Play, do something, please.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that and I think we see that consistently with our in-person events too. We have 20 people at a lot of these in-person events, and I think almost every UOP event got over 20 participants.
Yeah.
So as far as attendance, it was close to our Kai's. I know Kelly Dennis is because he managed to win a UOP event. So obviously the UOP events are even more competitive than in person. Because he won this one, and not the in-person Kai's. So,
well, it's funny. I was gonna say, I think I'm the only person out of us three that actually played at the only in-person event this year was the East Kai.
Right?
Yeah, I went out and stayed with Kevin Dennis for like a week, and Trevor Cox joined us on day 2 that I was there or whatever, and I stayed with Kevin. I love Kevin. Kevin's a homie. But it was, but yeah, I played in person. I had no idea what the fuck to play, and I ended up cannibalizing a couple decks because I only brought so many cards out there with me,
Sure.
and we didn't have access to a printer, and it was definitely could have maybe tried to be on more top of that, because I would have played Dende if I had a printer. But
because he had just released, right?
Yeah, he came out a little bit before, and I had been floating my knowledge list around, and I ended up playing Mimicry Boo, and I just got my fucking clock cleaned. I lost every game except one. I think I beat Anthony because I drew the nut hand of double unleashed with Boo on
oh my god.
And he drew one unleashed, and I'm okay, and he unleashed first, and I had double unleashed, and so I just bopped him with the first one, and I had a rebuke or something on already that I drew naturally. I just had it was really dumb. I felt really bad. He was playing Resolute Vegito, I believe. It was the deck he was playing, and I was my one win of the day, and every other loss was just fucking awful. It was awful. It was hard to have fun when I just But it was fun to
I'm
be out
gonna-
there. It's fun to be out with people. But go ahead.
I'm gonna hold that comment for when we're talking about the change to
Oh,
Unleashed. That one there you
Unleashed.
just said about how your
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good.
Well, Nick, so you play in Australia, right? And you talked about you were getting people in again. I was actually really curious to ask you, since we're talking about the events and stuff, have you been able to kind of convince anybody around you to get into Octagon at least, or?
Not really. There was one other Australian player playing in the first, I think, 2 or 3 UOP events. But he did not do very well, and because of the time, but I'm sure he would have played if he didn't have to stay up to like 3 a.m. to play in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
But
what part of Australia are you in?
I'm in New South Wales,
That's
so Eastern Sydney
southeastern.
Any
time.
other parts of
Okay, yeah.
Australia, Frank?
Yeah.
Like, do you have like a map up or something?
Well, no. I mean, I know roughly like Queensland, New South Wales,
All I know
You
is
know roughly
going-
about as much as I do. We've
Tasmania.
got
There's the Victoria, or so is it Victoria or whatever? Sorry.
So we've got Victoria's down there,
Yeah.
Queensland's up here,
Yep.
New South Wales is here. This is the eastern side of Australia,
Yep.
and the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Oh,
fair enough.
well.
It's all desert.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you
You
don't go
know.
in the middle.
Even
That was
Tasmania.
actually the only
so.
the only event I didn't play in 2016 was the one at Perth.
Yeah.
Then I saw that it had 6 players, and I saw the list, and I thought, oh, I should have done.
I was gonna ask you because I know there was David Spencer, and then there was another guy. I know he was like, I thought he was Asian. I forgot what his name was though.
You talking about Brian?
Because he was
Jaft?
he was the other qualifier for Worlds. It was like David and the other guy.
Damon, I think. So I know David.
I feel bad. I feel bad. I don't know. I do not remember his name, but I feel bad that I don't, because he was a good player. I'll let you continue.
I know David. David's a pretty good player of the game.
Mhm.
I don't know the other qualifier by name, which I also feel really bad about.
No, I know. I feel really bad. I saw photos of him, and I know people floated around that he was a very good player. Both David and him, and I feel so bad. It's been so long since it's been years, like 4 years since I looked at his name. So, but crazy to think it's been 4 years. Fantasy's been going on for like 4 years, like 3 years, like 3 and some, but pretty wild because 2016 is when.
Yeah, it was midway through 2016.
Well, it was like December. It was December, November. It got
Towards
canceled.
the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
But David was.
Because it was just after Worlds, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a month after Worlds. But so you know David and stuff, and I know he lurks every once in a while, but we always like everybody. Occasionally, some guys joke about like Kelly, and I think Brandon throws shade at and like bullshit with the Australian guys. I think there's 1 or 2 other guys from Australia that are active on Retro, and I forget who they are. And they talk.
I'm like, will you just speak English, not the Queen's English?
If you hear like cunt thrown around or something like that, then you like know it's probably an Aussie or a Brit. You know, mostly an Aussie.
Well, I think there was one day that I actually I think it was you, Nick, that I would like tagged, and I had found an Australian translator.
Yeah, I remember that
Yes.
post.
Talking about
yeah.
I don't know. I think I typed in, "I want to have sex with your mom," and like it came out, and it was like, oh,
Right,
it's
yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know what this means.
Yeah. So
I love it though.
I guess we've been diverging, but so Nick, what did you think about the OP events? For you, being able to not
Loved
be able to
them.
play in person. You loved them? Okay, go up.
Loved him. Gave me something to do these last bunch of months, and I got to talk to a bunch of you guys, which was much better than not having that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean getting my shit kicked in every time was not exciting, but aside from that,
You beat me that one
I enjoyed it.
Well, we didn't play in OP, but we played in Octagon. You beat me. I was playing Boo or something. I forgot who you were playing. It was something.
You got to drop all 7 balls on Kelly like in 2 turns or whatever it was.
Hey, you know what?
So I'm proud of my record against Kelly because my record against Kelly is 4-1.
Oh my god.
Um,
Oh
and
man.
Impressive. It's impressive.
He's a
except that
good-
it's
he-
except that
yeah.
it's Kelly. Only
Yeah.
that it's Kelly. And I'm
Well,
proud of
it's
this.
well. I mean, Kelly's a good player though. I've played him against in person a fair amount, and I've played against a fair amount over Octagon. He's a good player. He makes good decks too. You know, good player,
he's
good
like-
deck builder. He
He's
picks.
like the best Dennis now because Kevin like is all out of practice and doesn't know what he's doing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, a few times I've played Kevin. He's drunk, and it's just like I can't even get a game. It takes like an hour and a half to play a game with him, and it's like this.
So bad.
And it's like it would be, and the thing is, it's not like we're playing Control. It's like we could play like fucking like Ruthless Turles versus Ruthless Turles, and we would still have like an hour and a half game because he's just drunk, and it's like, oh my god.
Well, on
It's
top
just-
of that, like we had a like right at the
Oh, there you
beginning of
go.
the pandemic, I guess his girl came to live with them and
Yeah.
the,
Amanda,
Amanda-
I like her. I met her when I stayed with Kevin. She's really great.
she's really cool. But I
yeah.
guess his apartment's super small, and so he was staying
Yeah,
up
it
late
is.
trying to
Yeah.
play us
Yeah.
on Discord. And so he'd be like whispering into his microphone, super
Yeah.
like, he's like, physical for 6 stages. We were just like,
Oh my god.
just like, this is weird, man.
Erotic.
Like,
Axel,
dirty to me.
Axel, how was your? So you became known as like the beep beep or no bop bop. What the fuck do you say?
The beep boop beep. Some
Fucking
people
Mr.
call it. Some people call it Ooga Booga.
Mr. Turles himself.
It's pronounced Onga Bunga.
Oh yeah, Herpa Derpa.
I just drew well. I have no other excuse.
Well, you
or
did what, a top 4 and a top 8, or two top 4s?
No, the other top 4 was Tag Team Goku, and that was an old deck that I had before the game died because I was confident that Black Krillin was dead.
Mm.
But Tag Goku was my side deck. I have like a slightly different build than Kelly does because he's the other Tag Team Goku player. But yeah, like that's gonna like transfer over into my opinions on the meta. But I like Turles. I've always liked his face style, and saying clinch is something that is like underutilized because not really many MPs can like abuse it as well. Turles definitely can, and with talking to the meta like coming later, but I just wanted to have a deck of just I couldn't focus on like one deck that I was like, okay, like I want to play this for sure, except for Turles and like one other thing. So
You just said you want to turn your brain off while playing, right?
yes, essentially.
Yeah.
Essentially. Hope I draw well and just like hope you don't do the same. That's it.
Draw 3, enter. Hope you don't have blocks.
Yes, and hope that I draw like anything to get clinched turn 1, and then I'm going to enter the next turn. And
yeah,
just oppressive is like such a good mastery too. Like
it is a very good mastery. Yeah,
I wish that more NPs could like really abuse it and utilize it. But
I think
I think the good news is Saiyans aren't going away. So
oh no,
5 more there was in Super or whatever. So
can you imagine?
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm coming for that.
So so I kind of singled out Axel about what he played. Nick and Brandon, what did you two play? Nick, what did you play for the OP events that you played in?
So I played a different deck each time, except for the last two. The last two I played Manipulative Hero Boo.
That's a good deck. Very strong deck.
I really like the deck. I just wanted something that can get value out of Black Bite, because Black Bite is such a cool card, but the only two MPs that can really get a lot of use out of it are Hero Boo, who does it pretty well, and Hercule, who in Black is garbage because Black does not have good physicals. I'm sorry, it doesn't have them.
The meta talk later, Unleashed, it would have been a great card but...
What about Krillin?
Krillin, I think Krillin's pretty good with
Krillin can use Bite.
I don't know where you'd fit it, though.
I actually ran a manipulative Frigida that used Bite.
Oh, he's good with it, too. So you ran Boo, and then who else?
Wait, I thought Bite was only one trait.
Vegeta only has one trait. He's only Saiyan.
Yeah.
No, and I swear to God, he had Earthling.
No, he's Saiyan. He's only
that's
Saiyan.
Goku.
Goku has Saiyan and Earthling.
I gotta go check that again, but proceed.
Go ahead.
So I played Manipulative Boo. I played Manip Freezer in the first one. Played Protective Freezer for one of them. I played my Mischievous Broly to a top.
That's a really good
8,
deck.
I think.
I love
I
Mischievous
love that
Broly.
deck very much.
Yeah.
And there was some other,
Some random
probably
thing.
black. Yeah.
Brandon, what did you play when you played the OP?
I played Ramp Goku twice.
Yeah, it's a potent deck. Very potent.
The second one is the better version. Like I just sort of like threw it together and was like, we'll see how it does the first time. And I was like, okay, like for a deck I haven't tested a ton. I mean, really, it was just an excuse for me to try to use Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah.
You know, so it started as oppressive, and then I was like, I'll swap it to Rampage.
I think Ramp's the better pick. I really do think. Yeah, I played a oppressive version a little bit, and I was like, why am I not Ramp?
You don't consistently get to 4 enough without Ramp, unfortunately. But and then like I spent like a month and a half workshopping it after that, and that's the UOP event I actually managed to win.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I ran
Hot flex.
Yeah. It's still a bad deck though. Everybody thinks it's terrible. So
I don't. I think the level 4 is underrated, but it's hard to find a deck that like wants that over Evolution 4. Evolution 4 just getting you anything you want. It's just
for sure.
Any style that has like a. If I was like blue, especially like blue, for example, there's so many cards that are like +2/+3, or orange that are +2/+3. That you could tutor that I think are just better than like a 10-stage physical unstoppable. But
I absolutely agree. I would never run it outside of Ramp, honestly.
Nah, that's fair.
Maybe there's going to be another mastery down the road that can gain anger that quickly. But I don't think anything is really a fit for it other than rampaging helmet beats. So, and then I ran Dynamic Majin Vegeta, which is a deck I really like. I think it's got some potential. I top cutted with that one. I ran Knowledge Dende. Actually, I think we both ran Knowledge.
Yeah, the same event. That was the event that I top forward. Or no, I top 2'd. I lost to Kelly in the finals. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
We played each other in the mirror, and I won. And I was like, I'm like, I hate that I have to do this right now. I wish we could just meet each other in top cut, low key.
I know. Well, we did both make top cut. I just lost my first round. Mark Bolger, he's like my nemesis, man. Like he beats me in every single tournament. I have no idea why. But, I mean, he just does consistently. And then for the last one, I ran Black Nail to some acclaim.
Dude, yeah, you went 4-1 in Swiss, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. To be fair, like my first round, I lost because I think I had frustrated my opponent enough at that point because I had defensive bursts. He was Mischievous Deborah. I had defensive bursted him 3 times. I had run from combat 3 times, and he hit a point where he had a capture on, and I had 3 cards left in deck, and all he had to do was pass and end the turn, and I had played Black Hop. And so he attacked, and I prevented and rejuvenated 2, and then stacked the black teamwork on top of my deck and entered and teamworked him for the win.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
And then the rest of them were honest wins. And I just drew bad in top cut. But, I mean, that happens, especially when you have a low-tier MP like Nail. So, but I felt good about it. It's a fun deck. I think it's tier 1.5 at best, but...
Yeah. I mean, well, that's a pretty high rating. Nick?
I'm genuinely surprised that people were surprised by how well that worked. Anything that can push through Black's really good hit effects is gonna do decently.
Yeah,
I agree. But I think that we kind of are in this environment in the game right now where, like, if it's not obviously good, people sort of push it to the side.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of where we're at.
Well, I look at I'll cut you off just real quick, but it's like I totally agree. There's so many decks that like you see that people run good with, and you're like, where's this? You don't see the obvious synergy, and you're like, wow, this works, and you're like, they top cut with it, and you're like, huh, like because I'm just so at this point I'm so combo oriented. I'm like, if I don't see instant value, I'm like, I want to, you're looking for like the overload sauce hands. because there's just so many decks that have that at this point. You know, me and Axel actually had a conversation about it. You know, there's so many OTK decks at this point. You know, but
Is this, are we transferring into the meta talk right now?
yeah, we absolutely are. Exactly. This is my great segue into the meta talk since we're talking about. Again, this thing was like this much gin, and I had a beer earlier before I hopped
All
on
right.
here.
Yeah,
So
we're in it now.
all right. But
guys, it's not even midday. What are you on the drink for?
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So me and Nick were talking, and he's 16-hour difference between me and him. So that's pretty cool, you know. So he's just like waking up, and I'm going to bed, and not quite, but so Metatalk, since all of us have played, so I only played in like one OP events. I know Nick, you played in like all of them. Brandon, you played in multiple. Axel, you at least played in like 3 or 4 that I know of.
I played in like most everyone. Like
Okay.
I didn't play it the same day.
I ended up lucking. I just like happened to have that Saturday off, and I was like, oh shit! And like Friday night at like 11:50, I sent Ryan a deck list. I'm like, here's. I couldn't think of anything, so I just sent in my Dende list, like slightly updated with like Woof, because Woof had come out.
Yeah.
And I played it, and I got top 2. I kind of fluked my way into it because I should have lost the top 4 to what's his name? God, David Goldsmith. He should have beat me, but he like misplayed super hard, and I like won. I'm like,
yeah, I remember watching.
You were watching that. I was like,
that game.
He just
we were all in a group chat watching that game, and we were like, he's gonna mess this up. No way.
He did.
Yeah.
All he had to do is throw an attack,
Right.
and then he throws like an event, and I like sphere it or something, and then I like anger out, and I'm like, why did I win this game? This is like, I did not deserve this win whatsoever. Like he was just like nerves got him, but okay. So anyway, the meta. Since you guys all have a lot more experience with the meta, I've kind of lurked a bit. I looked at the deck list a little bit here and there. I looked at the results. What did you feel about the meta? You know, did it transition from the beginning of the set to the later set? You know, what do you think? We'll start with Axel this time since he's been the last guy to like comment. You know, in the order. But you know, what did you think about the meta? You know, did you see a transition? Any patterns or anything? Go ahead.
As someone who kind of like fell out of Fanzy, I like followed it a little bit whenever it became Fanzy after the death of the game, and I like went out of the scene for a little bit, came back right around whenever Fusion came out, and I got to, I guess, see the core of what the meta is now, based around the 3 new MPs, which all synergize super well with like most any flavor of color or deck that you want to do with them, because the game, like I feel most everyone's going to agree with me, is that it has become very action economy based, and just how good your MPs synergize like naturally with like any type of style or like way that you're trying to play. And most of them right now are based on quick kills and combo potential, which I saw as like a precursor back in set 7, the set that killed the game, whenever Orange Retribution, was it? Or
yeah, that's a mastery.
Yeah.
Whenever that mastery came out and literally like could win in 2 turns, and showed how like essentially that was just a precursor of what the game was going to turn into. And I think that
Ruthless Goku even turn 1 static shot and 1 unleashed, lead unleashed, loop unleashed. You know.
Yep, and it's still happening. Like you don't even need Unleash. Goku already has a level card, which brings me back around to good MPs who didn't need the Unleash nerf because they still already have auto level cards. You can't counter for everything, and I just believe that the game has become super sack heavy based on luck of the draw, very early game stuff. And I believe that like one thing that could like change the meta of the game or like affect it a little bit is maybe some type of mulligan system, because I've delved into other card games. I've recently been playing Legends of Runeterra, and that has a mulligan system turn 1, where if you don't like the first 4 cards, you can change out any one of them. But I don't think that would like transfer well in the long run to DBZ. I think the Visiting the Past ban was solid, absolutely needed to happen. For the longest time, the Unleash nerf was welcomed, but it didn't do it didn't kill the good MPs who just abused it and didn't need it.
Yeah, yeah. I think
So-
yeah.
I'm gonna try my best not to just go on and rambling, but
No,
yeah,
no, you're
like,
fine. You're totally
You're
fine.
great, man.
You know what?
Nah,
I think we'll kind of combine the OP4 discussion right now into the meta too a little bit, but yeah.
yeah, Orange is super good. Saiyan is making a very strong like just presence in the scene right now, and a lot of other masteries and styles are falling behind because they lack the combo potential that, or like the like pure synergy within the MPs and the colors that that Orange, Saiyan, and God, I guess Black and
I'd say,
Namekian in some ways like very close behind them.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like I'm trying my best to still enjoy the game, but like whenever you say like there's these really cool decks that are coming out and like people trying unique stuff, I think it's also like it's not getting blown out because not everybody's focusing on like the real like or giving a shot with the real like try hard decks like Orange or Namekian Gohan, Rampaging Gotenks, Orange or whatever color Vegito. Like people are still trying to explore and like see what other stuff works in the game, but since we don't have like money on the line or like really big like competitions going on, people are like have a little bit of leeway to play around.
Yeah.
But whenever you play against those kind of decks, it's like, oh, was I able to set up by turn 2? No. Okay, I'm probably dying this round.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That's a sentiment that's been kind of carried on for a couple sets at least. I'd even almost say sit back to set 10. You know, the whole idea that you know, people aren't always playing the most competitive thing. You know, that was a big critique of a lot of, especially like a lot of East Coast players, because they were very active in like the set 10 to 11 and even 12 period. You know, probably the most active posters. You know, they were like saying, you know, like, hey, like the truth of, and like I'll say Miguel too. You know, from California. You know, they're like, you know, most people aren't playing like the most competitive shit. Like, and Jeff Sosa, you know, talking about like, you know, if you're not running the top tier shit, like, you know, sure, all this stuff works fine, but like this is the top tier stuff is just so consistent, you know, and that I guess that's one critique that people have had for a while, you know,
Mhm.
but
But I don't think that's any different from any other game though.
No,
You know
and
what
no,
it
I,
shouldn't
I
be.
agree, I agree.
I think
Every
it's
card game
Yeah.
evolves
Yeah.
into this at some point.
Nick, go ahead.
I've played every card game under the sun, and I know that at a local level, a lot of people just don't want to play that big top thing. They want to
Mm.
be the one who figures out, I've got the secret sauce. I've got my secret
That's dude,
cool thing that
that's
is
me in a
better than it.
nutshell.
That's
yeah,
that's the best
And
feeling. Whenever I
like when you
found
build
yeah, it is the best feeling.
yeah,
Um,
Empowered
that
Roku
pioneer, you know.
countered Cell, like,
yeah.
but like you need like everyone I'm sure had that scene back in the day where you had a Namekian Piccolo player, you had a Ginyu player, and you had a Krillin player. If you didn't
sure.
have that, you're not
Yeah.
traveling state-wise and competing.
Mhm.
No. Nick, what do you
look, I'll
think?
be honest. Most of my wins in any card game come from the fact that most other people aren't playing good
Yeah.
things.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, people kind of, especially in fantasy, you know, people are kind of like up to the, you know, whatever. It's a lot more of like freedom, but at the same time, versus like Panini era, the competitiveness of most like flavors is a lot better. You know, they're a lot closer.
I'll say about fantasy, that a lot of like tier 2 is very wide. There is a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
tier 2
If we're gonna
that's just
if we're gonna subtract like tier 0, I don't think there's any tier 0 decks anymore. There's the tier 2 is just fucking massive. The tier 1 is like this, sure, but the tier 2 is like this, and the tier 2 can beat the tier 1 in if you're teched for
I
it.
think the gap between tier 1 and 2 is also
You,
big.
you think it's pretty big?
I think it's pretty big.
Hmm.
Because that's what Axel's talking about, is those decks that blow out win in turn 2.
Yeah,
Those are your
yeah.
ones that
Now, would you say that like in this most recent season, those decks have gotten top cut or like won the UOP tournaments? Because I guess Dende's still too close, still like too new to call. He could be like I put Dende at tier 2 maybe.
I
He's
think he's higher than tier 2.
he's tier 2 because he doesn't there's no matchup I feel like he's a guaranteed win. There's so much space, like his core package is so small, if that makes sense. You know,
Mhm.
there's
But
so
I feel
much.
like you put almost any MP in a Mechian knowledge mastery.
Yeah.
Like
Most
you've
of them,
got a solid deck.
yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, hey, you know what? I'll say this: TJ did really good with Radiant Dende. I think he won or top four or top two. I can't remember. He top four or
no,
top
he
two.
won.
Okay, he won.
the
Yeah.
whole event.
So I mean,
that was the first
I
year.
saw that and I was like, first off, I was like a little jealous that I didn't win with Dende and he did first. And I was like, I looked at his list and I'm like, his deck is literally hinged around Unleashed and
Okay, but
never capping his balls. Like, sure, it's slower slug, is what it is.
Yeah, I
But hey, if nobody's teched
I
for it,
yeah, I definitely like the knowledge Dende better because I feel like it's doing more than
Hmm.
just
yeah,
I'm putting my balls here. Please don't touch them.
don't touch it.
it's more conserved and like able to have a
Yeah.
little bit more control over them, which it needs, or else it's going to get critted
I
very early
think
on.
I think the problem with Knowledge Dende is it's incredibly NPPV focused. I don't really think ball out. You could build off your ball out. I just think it's going to suffer everywhere else if you build ball. Whereas like if you go for the ball, Radiant just flourishes, but you can't go for anything other than like DBV because like survival. If you're trying to run like the Earth, like I think like if you're trying to run the damage cards for Dende in Radiant, you're better off running Kami because Kami just synergizes better with like Force Push, Prepped Ball, Surge. He just synergizes so much better with those cards than Dende in my maybe not so much Surge, but
Well, I mean, even the Radiant Kami decks aren't aggressive. The Radiant Kami is like a turtle, like in
Yeah.
no deck. It's terrible.
It can. It's kind of like Orange 20 where it can like flip a turn where it does a shitload of damage unpreventable or like high life card value damage. But then it can also just be incredibly defensive. So it's interesting.
Orange 20 is my nemesis deck.
Oh man, I was
What?
oh man, yeah. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Brandon. Oh, you
No,
go ahead.
I'm
Okay,
Orange
fine.
20.
As far as Orange 20 goes, Deflection Joe came out and I was a big Wheelo guy, and like 20 already sucked to play against, and I qualified. I got second place on a qualifier with like Mischievous Wheelo, and then like Deflection Drill drops like next set, like right after that event, and I'm like, dude, the fuck. I was like, why? Why? And then it was like combative Kami, combative 20, combative Trunks meta for a while there, and it was just like, I think I was like beginning of set 10. I'm just like, dude.
Yeah.
Or sorry, that was was it set 11 that Deflection Drill came out? I think. Either way, it was just like, dude, kill me.
It was movie collection too.
Yeah, it was 10
So,
or it was 11. Yeah,
I don't know the numbers. I know the names.
it was 11 because 10 is when the Mischievous Master came out. But yeah, I was just like,
that's right.
yeah.
Well, I think our meta right now is it's been interesting, and I don't think that the game has become as sacky as a lot of other people think, and I've been pretty outspoken about this. I think, and the reason I think that is because I think deck building is a huge factor in DBZ. I think that is where the most skill in this game comes in. It is really saggy, and I think a mulligan system. I don't know how you would implement that, unless you wanted to take the GT draw system for the first turn, where you look at your top 6 and pick 3.
Hell, even just like a hey, you draw 3. You can just mulligan, the either like the whole hand or whatever. I don't know.
Maybe like a mulligan for the defending player. Look at your top 3 on defense.
Yeah.
If they enter turn 1.
Or draw an extra card on your
them.
first turn. I don't know, man.
I don't like draw extra card because
yeah.
I'm as a Goku player. I'll take that all day fucking long, man. You're gonna let me draw another card on top of this other. I will never use the aggro matchup.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
It feels too swingy. Almost a mulligan almost feels way too swingy, especially considering how hard OTK decks are and how hard control decks are. You give a control deck 2 turns and there's enough of them that can set up fast enough that are just you're not winning the game.
Well, yeah, and I think that going back to the VTP nerf, or the VTP ban, that's really what swung it in aggro's favor.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But
this game forever has been so passive.
Yeah, it also, but I hate that it killed mid tempo quite a bit. But between Unleash getting nerfed, VTP being gone, I think mid tempo's dead. I think it's really dead. You think so?
But I think it exists insane right now.
I could argue that. I could argue
I
that.
think I think enhanced
Enhanced,
right now
yeah.
is your
Enhanced is the only way that it.
mid-range deck. Like
Yeah.
it's what it is, and I hate that mastery.
Enhanced,
but-
saying enhanced specifically can hang long because of the high endurance values, the large amount of the rejuvenation, the large amount of control, and they actually have a ton of anger hate and crit hate. So like you can stall NPPV and ball very easily, and survival is super easy to just beat as long as they don't.
Enhanced just does
know.
everything particularly
does.
well, which is
Well, and you
really
know what I
nice.
found is like
I don't think it's
that-
overpowered. It's kind of like, hey, we do this, and then other masters are up here in one value, but down here in another, and it's just kind of like, hey,
I think I
we're
agree with that.
here, we're here.
I think
Like,
that's actually Saiyan's card pool in general.
yeah,
I think Saiyan's ceiling is lower than most styles, but its floor is also higher.
yeah. It's a
than most
it's a lot
styles,
more.
and it kind of like stays within this range.
Yeah, it's a lot more
Um,
even kill, we'll say.
yeah, and I think at the beginning of the set 14 meta, we saw aggro just stomping everything. Eric Ing's Adept Gohan
Oh my
is like a
god.
famous example now of just like I'm literally going to draw 8 cards this combat.
Yeah, Eric,
and
like
really
combat
kill you.
one does like fucking 90% of your deck if he doesn't OTK you, and then he's still like, he's still got 40 plus cards in his deck, and the only reason he's taking damage is because he's been searching cards out of his deck, and it's just like, dude.
Yeah, and
Imposing
and I think
Gohan, even turn to that's not so much a turn 1 kill deck, that's like a turn 2 or like a combat 2 killer,
Yeah, and what I think you see in those tournaments that we were seeing those decks perform well is there was like a severe lack of Saiyan.
Yeah.
Like I'll bang the table for Saiyan right now. I don't think it's the best style, but I think it is literally
It's up
the
there.
style that
It's pretty up there.
It beats the aggro decks just because of the endurance and because of its ability to level pretty consistently. I think that both of those factors are just like, okay, I have a strong physical beats matchup, I have a strong energy beats matchup. So I think if you have a beats Saiyan deck, like it can really control those aggro matchups.
Well, Kelly was running a control Saiyan deck. I wouldn't say it was beats; it was control Saiyan, and that dynamic Broly is like I didn't watch his matchups, but I don't know if he lost a single game the whole day. The tournament that me and him
think
played.
He lost the mirror. Actually, I think he lost.
It was like Zach Johnson.
He lost to Zach in Swiss, and then he beat Zach in
Top Cut. Yeah.
Is how that went down. But I think that those. I think we see an absence of black right now in a lot of ways.
I do too. Manipulative specifically was really popular.
There's a
for a while,
reason for that, though.
Yeah.
You think?
Which is that like black. I think I've said this to you before, Brandon. Black's got very few good cards for the various different archetypes that it has. The good cards that it has for those archetypes are really good, but it doesn't have enough of them for you to build a consistent deck that does things. Like,
I'd agree with that.
Manipulative is cool. I really like manipulative, but you don't get enough value out of it across your entire card pool.
Yeah. There's no
Mischievous a lot, but you don't have enough that forces them to draw in that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that manipulative is probably my favorite mastery, honestly.
I love manipulative.
It's better protective in my mind. Call me crazy, but I think it's better protective. I've been saying that since it came out. People are like, oh, you don't get to stop. You dig fucks you. And I'm like,
That's one archetype.
Cool. Cool. My opponent's gotta draw dig to shit on me. Okay, whatever. I have a 4-card hand to deal with that. You know what I mean?
I still get to play attacks on defense and get really cool effects out of that.
Yeah. That alone is just.
I think that the thing the manipulative did is it pulled so many cards to the forefront that we forgot about.
Yeah. Shoulder grab or shoulder charge, great example.
Shoulder charge is another one. Flashback.
Flashback
is so good. I love flashback into blinding or power up. Like it's just like, okay, cool. On the defense, get rid of your card, and now combat's over, and fuck you. You just lost that for the whole game.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking, I'm thinking like the manipulative Frieza, I'm thinking of like manipulative Frieza I built. The first deck I built with like manipulative, where it's like, okay, flashback. Oh, they throw an attack. Okay, I just take your block away. And
Yeah,
then now
and
I
now you
throw
get a
the,
supernova to the face.
throw the Nova.
Manipulative Frieza gets to do this really
Uh,
cool thing where you're like, okay, I've got Ginyu ally, so I can see what you've got, and I'm gonna play Black Swell on defense, and you
Yup.
can't play 3 of those cards in your hand. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So,
I love it.
so what would you say? We'll start with we'll go Axel to Nick to Brandon again. So what do you think if you had to pick like the 3 popular decks that you see the most of, or you think what are like a couple decks do you think are the most meta defining right now?
Roshi is still extremely meta defining. I think hell a tag team ball Roshi won like the second to last TOP. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw that make it like really, really far.
Hmm.
Just Roshi synergy entirely like still is solid. Like 10 sets later. Go Tanks is still like a really good MP. Like I can't rampaging, and there's also he's just flavorful in any style. Mystic Gohan, and
You
yeah,
think?
as far as like the top 3, like Roshi, Mystic, and Go Tanks for sure.
Nick, what do you think?
Okay, so I'm not a very good person for meta analysis, but I do think with this Budokai Tenkaichi coming up, I'd be surprised if you don't see a lot of enhanced decks there, especially with Raditz and Broly.
Yeah.
I think that's got a lot of power there. I think you'll see. Um, that's really the best comment I've got. Actually, I'll step back now.
No. Well, I'll just say this. You know, what did you think was like the most popular, most meta defining through your OP events that you saw?
Through the OP, that's honestly a hard question to say because there wasn't really a meta that shaped out.
No,
Every week something different was topping
that's
until the
true.
last 2
That's
where
true.
enhanced um Broly did quite well.
Yeah.
Aside from that, yeah, I didn't really
Hmm.
spot a big meta so much.
That's an interesting comment. Brandon, what do you think?
I think we're in a spot where, like, I think in most games that are larger, you see challenges kind of come against the top decks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you've got a magic meta, and eventually someone figures out the counter to Esper control if that's the powerful meta deck right there. And I don't think we have a large enough player base in Fantasy to really see those things develop. So I think the things that we view as tier 2, like I think there's some tier 1 gems in there, and I think that people feel really oppressed by the things that are obviously good. But I think there's a lack of creativity or a desire to be creative when there are so many like obviously good things that are easy to play, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
What
But
Yeah.
what would you say like your 3 meta defining decks right now for this set?
I think Enhanced Broly has to be up there. You've had 2 players who have performed really really well with that deck. And it like I think that that's the question. One of the questions that I'm going into this tournament thinking is, okay, does this beat Enhanced Broly? Does it have
Yeah.
a pretty solid Broly matchup here? I think that I've been seeing a lot of Dragon Ball decks. There's a lot of different strategies that are emerging as far as Dragon Ball. A lot of blue Dragon Ball decks specifically I've been seeing lately. I think that Supreme Kai is still a meta factor, even though nobody's running him.
Oh, 100%.
Um, and uh, and I mean, if you're looking for I mean, he's still there. There's a Supreme Kai deck out there lurking somewhere. I'm convinced.
I do feel the same way about Supreme Kai. Yeah.
He's too good not to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Card
too good.
recursion, selective card recursion is never going to be bad. It's the same thing with
No,
Cooler.
never.
No.
Yeah. So
There's no limits on it either. It's just like, okay, this seems like a good idea.
Did you draw time turn 1? Good.
Yeah, we'll just
Solid.
shuffle this forever.
yeah.
So I think Dragon Ball decks are out there, kind of lurking, and I see a lot of black right now. Actually, I think that there's some solid black control that I think has to. So I think I don't know that I have specific decks other than Enhanced Broly. I think if you're going into an event right now, you
Hmm.
have to be able to beat hard sellout physical beats. You have to be able to beat Dragon Ball, and you have to be able to beat Enhanced Broly. Like I think those are like my 3 that, and so a couple of those are more archetypes, but
Yeah, no, I understand.
I think Red Ball is really strong right now. Roshi or Raditz.
Yeah,
So
Raditz is interesting. He's been so the great transition into the next part of the video, but we're going to talk about the
sure.
OP4 real quick because nobody up until that point nobody has explicitly mentioned Raditz. So I'm just going to bring up Raditz up on my screen here while we're talking about this. But Raditz has been quite the MP. I don't want to say by no means polarizing, but incredibly strong and just so like he just does so much. He's somebody that I feel like you have to take account of. His level 1, his new level 1, of course, letting you start the game with any setup that you want and play, I think is incredible. Dragon Radar and I think Visage are like the 2 biggest ones. Maybe Searching Technique, also Black Searching Technique as well, but those 3 cards specifically can completely flip a matchup. Even Raditz Dirty Tactics too, if you I guess control, but those 3 cards are just so flippy.
They are.
They're like they're not like necessarily sacky. They're just flippy. They completely can change the dynamic of a game. Because Searching Technique is a card that if I see it with a board focused deck like an orange deck, great example, like an orange adaptive combative deck, even black, I look at that card, I'm like, oh shit, I'm super worried about that card. Raditz gets to start at turn 1. Aggro, you get Visage turn 1. You get these OTK decks. A lot of these OTK decks don't really have great board hate. Imposing Gohan's a good example. Even Adept Gohan's got to like luck into like a orange stare down. Deborah, he's got to see Spit. All sorts of decks that just suffer seeing a Visage early.
Well, and I think setups are. I mean, you guys may argue, but I think they're the most powerful card type in the game.
I do.
Like they seem to have just the strongest effects in general.
Them are events. Them are events. I could make an argument for events, but setups I probably always.
But to be able to start with that kind of advantage, I mean, it's a very powerful effect, obviously.
Not to mention like Dragon Rider with Dynamic Balls alone. That shores up so many weaknesses in like black, for example, or blue. Board hate. This is the biggest one I'd say. Honestly, like ball 4 or ball 2 even, for most of the styles.
Yeah, I was playing Eric last night, and I was dynamic Goku, and he just searched radar immediately, and I'm just like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Or like Sane Peace. I mean, there's just so many setups. There's just so many setups that are incredible. But I think that whole stack. I think so. That level 2 is really good.
Yep.
Without a doubt. All right, cool. Well, I'll just move on to the next level. Without a doubt, like a -1 for your opponent's always going to be good. But that level 3 versus the old level 3 is a huge level of debate for a lot of people, for a lot of decks. The old level 3 random discarding is really good, I think, for the anger decks, whereas the new level 3 kind of meta dependent. But they're like you were saying, Brandon. There's a lot of people playing ball, especially with Raditz, because he can just fly up to that 3 pretty easily in a lot of decks. Not to mention starting the game with Radar is pretty powerful towards a Balvic.
Even like Red Destiny.
Yeah.
If you're going for double Vic there, like you're gonna get to that 3 eventually. You know, so it's. I mean, crit effects are really powerful in general, I think, and I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know that. Like, it's so unassuming, I think.
Yeah.
Like, that level seems so. Like, the first time I read it, I was like, okay, this doesn't seem like a lot, but, like, having it in game, it just. I mean, having access to a crit at all times is really, really powerful. So.
What do you think?
That was actually my reaction when I first saw the new Raditz. Was, I mean, I like what it does, but does it do as much as other MPs of the time? And then it turns out through gameplay, oh yeah, it does. It's quite good.
Well, you and me had that game. Yeah, granted, I was a little fluky, but you and me were both playing Mischievous, and we just traded like ball 3 like 2 or 3 times in the combat, or just like Mistress. Okay, give me an anger, you get an anger. Give me an anger, you get an anger. We're just like drawing a shitload of cards. I thought that was pretty fun. That was such a weird match. Such a weird match.
I think the new Raditz is like a love letter or a love child to Black Krillin. Essentially, it has pretty much the same tool set as it, and Raditz already had some of the best name cards in the game, and now with that setup, Raditz just like shot up on the tier list, and he's no longer just a Saiyan Menace deck or like the cheeky deck that no one's gonna like play for real.
I agree
He
with that.
actually became a solid MP. He didn't even need the new stack. He just needed that name card. That name card, like,
You think
Really good.
Double Sunday was the tipper? So before
absolutely.
I'll hold on to that for comment. Well, just that level 4 though, the new level 4 is just money. Just
It
Yeah.
is.
draw a
I mean,
card,
it's just pure card advantage, you know.
draw
Okay.
a +1, -1, and a potential discard effect. A proc plus a crit. I mean, we don't need to
I mean,
say.
there's really not much more you could ask for on a level 4, honestly. I mean,
Honestly,
it
I
pretty
thought
much does everything you want it to do.
I thought that was interesting
But
that you thought trailing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick, real quick.
I was just going to say, I don't think there's any reason that a level 4 shouldn't be good.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I
I
just,
I agree.
sometimes it's surprising
I'm
because
curious.
you see Garlic Jr. level 4, and
I'm
you're just like,
I'm curious why you said Double Sunday was the tip over though versus the new stack. Why do you think that?
I'm definitely like I'm not slouching the new stack at
No,
all.
no.
Like
I know. I don't.
it wasn't even expected for Raditz to like get any support at all.
Yeah.
But like yeah, in combination, like since the whole idea of making the new stack was to like make Raditz this like very versatile, like build him how you want MP. Double Sunday is the card that made him that way because yeah, you can get defensive stance or whatever attached already and like get some setups going, but a setup that like just instantly gives you a crit on top of whatever else you're already doing, and it's life card damage, so you possibly get two. That's like so solid. And going back to what Brandon said, if setups are like such a, like the amazing card archetype that they are,
Mm.
that card is like almost the perfect setup. It's got endurance, it shovels itself back in, it's a crit, like it has
well,
everything you need.
it does, your ball deck a ton of favors
Yeah.
too when it
Yep.
shuffles.
Yep.
It's a shuffle on a hit, and I mean, I
Endurance
don't know.
too.
I agree with you. Double Sunday is amazing, and I think that the new Raditz stack is so well designed, just because it's like you like you said it, Axel. Build it how you want. And I've seen decks out there like the enhanced Raditz decks are using set 2 level 1 and different variants of those levels. I've got a mischievous deck that uses new 1 through 3,
Mhm.
or no, new 1 and 2, old 3, and it's like my whole goal is to -1 you, -2 you for the whole game. There's
Yeah.
manipulative Raditz decks that are out there that are mixing and matching the levels. I know Eric is running conflict Raditz with new level 1, old level 2, and so it's like, I mean, it's
Mm.
just
That's the
it's
better
just
Black
so
Krillin
well
now.
designed. Yeah,
I
it's
don't know
just
if it,
so well designed.
I don't know about that
I'll
necessarily,
debate
but
it.
I don't know.
Do you,
It doesn't throw attacks, versus old Krillin did. But go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, do you think that the versatility that's baked into the new Reddit stack is sort of a result of it being released in the OP4 as opposed to in a set where the MPs are usually designed around a specific idea?
I think. Well, so I'll just lead off here. I think personally that with the Reddit stack, they were more shooting to give you two options with the stack, essentially really split you between two. Like you could go more of like that setup drill kind of playing route where you're just trying to shoot up to your level 3 or 4, and then the kind of the more control route where you're playing with the more discard effect stuff. I think specifically they went for that, but that new level 1 is really the interesting kicker in my mind, because that new level 1 is like um, they needed to give something that gave a +1 to compete with the old level 1, and both give anger. Arguably, in the long run, the Heroes and Villains level 1 is better, if you're stuck there for more than a turn, I'd say. But just the power of the setups, like Brandon was saying, I think that new level 1, um, is incredibly powerful. But I really think that I think more than 10 was just a split between two stacks and give you two options of play: control with board, control with hand disruption, and then you could mix and match to find some level. You're probably going to want to run anger. Maybe you could run unleashed. Maybe one of the granted unleashed has changed now, but one of the incentives with old rats one is you could dig into your deck faster, kind of like Goku does, to get the unleashed. So.
Well, kind of speaking of unleashed, I think that we kind of talked about how that's going to change the meta, and I think one way that it is already warping things is that Wallbreaker is back, baby.
It is back,
Wallbreaker
absolutely.
is back.
I'm so glad.
Because it is not scary anymore to slap a Wallbreaker on Goku, like thinking he's going to jump to 4. He can't do that anymore to you,
Yeah.
He can't hurt you anymore.
I do like that. I do like that change. I don't like Wallbreaker. I fucking hate that card. But
me too, man.
But Unleash not giving somebody turbo levels because you fucking Wallbreaker them, is always appreciated. Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's the danger of new Raditz 1. I've been Wallbreakered there so many times now.
Yeah, he doesn't do much on that one if you get Wallbreakered. So.
It's really upsetting.
Yeah, Unleash being there. We kind of already touched on it. I think we all kind of are in the camp that like Unleash being changed really only hurt the random pet decks, not like Gohan and Goku and Boo.
I think it hurt Gohan and Goku.
I
just think Gohan and Goku are so good.
Yeah, they don't need it though.
They didn't need it. They already had auto level cards that did it for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes it a little bit, easier to stomach. I think, when they have, all these auto level cards that I mean, I don't know. Because it really sucked to be like, okay, I know that I can handle this backlash combat because he's going to go back to 2, and then maybe I can keep him on 2, and then they unleash to 4. And you're like, well, crap.
Yeah.
Now they're just going to rejuvenate 4 every combat, and there's no way I'm winning this game. So I mean, I think it does hurt them. I just don't think that I don't think it's as noticeable.
It didn't kill any. It didn't kill any of the good decks.
Yeah, but I don't think it was intended to. I think it was to keep new Goku from shooting up to 4 immediately. Because that would happen and we'd all cry.
Oh,
yes.
New Goku. Yes, I gotta find that level here. Yeah, what do you guys feel about? We'll just do Spirit Bomb. So of course, Spirit Bomb we know is a detached card starts the play. I thought it was done really flavorfully, and I really like that level 1 Goku. I think it really it found its own little niche. I think you could even run it outside of just a pure Spirit Bomb deck. The fact that it gives stages and anger is always good. Has some anger control, of course. Especially given that Goku has some of the best levels in the game already to support him. I think they did a really good job with Goku stack. What do you guys think?
I think
Go ahead, Nick. You go first, Nick.
No, you go. You go ahead.
Nick, let Nick go.
Nah,
Nick,
Nick,
it's all you.
You haven't gone first yet.
I agree. I really do like I like how it works. I like that you have Spirit Bomb there, and that Spirit Bomb acts really well as a like off to the side threat. Like if you ever don't have cards in your hand and this thing is more than 10, you get hit with it. Which is why I really like that Mischievous Goku deck that I played against you with.
Yeah.
Like you basically sit there. Just like going back to what I said with Manipulative Nail, you can almost guarantee you're going to get some hit effects through because they're going to hold the block for the Spirit Bomb. You go, you can hold your block for the Spirit Bomb. I don't care. I want to get capture on you. This is great. This is lovely. I'm having a great time.
Yeah, it's a tough choice.
Well, I think that's like my favorite deck right now is Dynamic Goku, Dynamic Bomb Ku. And all it really is it's Balku, from back in set 7.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people run. I've seen Ally Ku though. I mean, I think it works with Dragon Ball Victory. I think it works with fucking Energy Beats. I think it works with every type of Goku other than MPPV. Honestly,
it does. But I mean, like my whole goal is like I'm gonna play balls and I'm gonna try to kill you. Please be afraid of this Spirit Bomb and play around that.
Exactly.
You know,
I think that's
like,
the strength of it. The
there you
strength
go.
of it is in that please be afraid of this big energy attack, so
Yeah.
I can sneak all my smaller ones through at you.
It's a
Mhm.
rope-a-dope. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really what we're looking at. You know, is
Yeah.
but I mean, if it does hit, like shit, like I hit one for 50 in a game one time, and I was like, it just felt good. You know, it's like, yeah, you're dead. You know,
Yeah.
you took 50 life to the face. Enjoy.
What do you think, Axel? What's the consensus?
I don't want to blow the lid on like every Goku deck that I've been seeing. There's one in particular. Whoever's been on Octagon recently knows what it is, and it's like it opened up like the things that I like about is whenever the new MPs and the stacks like this open up possibilities that you didn't even like think of, and whenever someone finally finds that, and it's like, oh, that really works. I God, I really don't want to blow the lid on it because I think they're prepping to bring it to Tenkaichi Budokai.
Okay.
When is
Alright.
this being released? This is probably going to be released like day before.
Day
whatever.
before, so you can hold on
Yeah.
to it. We'll
Okay.
foreshadowing. I'll update the thing and be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, he meant
Mhm.
this deck, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
But like I think it's super good. It's a card he's been needing to have for a while, and even then just to have it like not for the new level 1, just have it in a ally Goku deck or whatever, like it's still just a super good card. I don't think Goku needed more support than he already has, much like Gohan, but it's nice to just give more flavor and more diversity to the meta, even if it's with an already super good MP.
yeah.
But I don't think it puts him over the top. Like, I
No,
think
it
I
doesn't.
think that's what's so good. Like, I don't know. I'm all
It
about
doesn't push
OP4.
him up. It
Like,
expresses his options outwards.
Yeah,
I
Yes.
agree, and
I
that's
think
what's
it's
so
a
fantastic. Is like
it's a
this is such a
lateral
well
move.
designed.
Yeah.
It's so well designed because it doesn't like it pushes Raditz up, but like Goku. I mean, Goku is good. Like everybody knows Goku is good. We know
Yeah.
he's a top tier MP. We know he's gonna have representation in tournaments. We know that he's gonna be strong. Now he's just got like this extra wrinkle that like is super flavorful and fun, but doesn't like push him over the top. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
more
like this is
room
now
for
enjoyable.
creativity.
Yeah.
It's like now I feel like less of an asshole playing Goku because now I have a cool Spirit Bomb
Boop.
card that I can use.
You'll feel like an asshole hitting someone for 50.
No, dude, they like it. Like, that's the best part of Spirit Bomb. Like people cheer you on when you smack them with a. They're like, dude, you got it up to 40. That's amazing. You know, like it's like
Yeah.
I think everybody has fun with it. You know,
Yeah.
and maybe I'm wrong, but
No, that's fair.
like I swear, for the first week, man, like every time somebody was running a bomb coup deck, like there were like 8 spectators just watching, and as
Yeah,
soon as
watching it
somebody
grow.
red mule kicked, as soon as somebody red mule kicked that thing, they'd be like, "God damn it!" Like,
Boost candy beam, woof. Yeah, we don't have to get into
Yeah.
tech, but
They
so
wanted that thing to hit.
I suppose so. I brought up. I'll before we go into the final cards I want to talk about here. We'll go into the Tenkaichi Budokai event. You know, so we talked about the meta bit. We talked about the OP4. We know OP4 is going to be legal for Tenkaichi Budokai. You know, what are your predictions? You know, I mean, we've kind of talked about the meta defining decks. You know, and kind of somewhat about that. But like, if you think, we'll keep it pretty simple. You know, we know we have a pretty. I think we have a pretty broad base of players, you know, from control to aggro. You know, what do you think? What do you see as like maybe a deck that would win or a deck that's going to perform well? We've kind of answered that second part a little bit, but go ahead, Nick. You go first this one.
Oh, cheers. Well, all I was going to say, because again, I'm not very good at analyzing meta, but I know that Kelly Dennis has not been posting memes on Retro to boost himself up, so he's probably actually going to do well at it.
Oh man,
Hey
classic.
man, you're hurting my heart
Yeah.
here now.
I think it's probably going to be. I do think you're going to see some enhanced representation. I don't know what else to.
No, that's
There.
fair.
I
I think
actually haven't seen a lot of orange in the UOP events, so maybe orange is going to turn up, or
maybe.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been testing energetic Krillin a lot, and I don't think Orange Anger is good enough right now. I don't think it's good enough to take an event.
I think it's only good if it's physical.
Yes.
You have to play.
Yeah,
If you go hybrid, it's too slow, and it's too wishy washy and like no comboing. But if you go physical, it's like you get the hybrid beats of like you push hard anger with beats. You're not as fast as pure anger would maybe be always, but
Well, I think you see you're gonna see Sandburst in this tournament,
yeah.
and you're gonna see Wallbreaker
Yes.
in this tournament. Like, I think those are the two things that are certainties. And
Orange
so,
orange investigation drill, bam, double kill.
yeah. I mean,
The
and that's
meta,
I was running
yeah.
two of them because Krillin can search it, but I mean, it didn't do anything. Like, it was just,
Axel, I
I
look
would
like I
run
just blew your
assault.
fucking mind. Like your eyes just fucking.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
No.
I'm
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm prepared for whatever in the tournament. I'm like, I'm not prepared. No one's going to be prepared for everything. No one's going to be able to like tech against everything. And I like that's what's great about the Unleash nerf, the new patches for the season, and everything is like it opened the realm for like almost anything to like come out and make a splash. New Raditz, different Unleash type decks, and everything like that. I think the tournament is going to be won by a Dragon Ball victory. I'm going to call it right now. Grand finals is going to be a DBV on either side. But I don't know. I do expect a lot of Saiyans. I expect maybe a Dende or two, and probably. And honestly, I think now that Wallbreaker is back, and if everyone like who understands the meta and the Unleash nerf that happened and got Wallbreaker back into the scene, I don't think we're going to be seeing too many like speed anger decks anymore. Now that Unleashed isn't a threat anymore, so I think we're going to see more of a beatdown control and DBV type of UOP tournament this coming up one.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's why Ramp Go Tanks drops a tier for me right now. Is because it really can't deal with Wallbreaker at all.
Yeah, it's got very few. Like you could build it for it to answer, but it's got very few answers. Or I don't know. It's got answers, but it's just like you throw them in, you dilute the deck. You draw them in any match. You draw them when you don't have Wallbreaker on you, and they're just garbage. That's the problem with Wallbreaker tech.
Even those answers, I mean, like it's almost worth if you're afraid of Wallbreaker, it's almost worth running Focus Assault in Go Tanks. Like that's how
I mean, he can run Focus Assault and still get an anger. Saint Energy Focus is a card, one of my favorite cards in the entire game.
Yeah, that's a sneaky card.
That card is like super sauce. Like, oh, okay, like Wallbreaker, nah. Attached card, nah. Fucking, board cards. I mean, I loved running that with Gohan, future Gohan. It was like, shut off your MP, shut off your board, cool. We Gucci, like, it was a lot of fun, but.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Raditz.
I do too.
I would be very surprised if there weren't one or a couple Raditz decks. I do expect an enhanced deck. I'm expecting some red ball. I mean, I think that we're gonna see because I think that the collection of players is really diverse in their strategy and in what they like to play. So I think that's I don't think we're gonna see like a restored Gohan meta, or like an enhanced or an empowered Broly meta,
I agree.
where everybody brings the same thing. But I think it's gonna be interesting. I definitely have a few ideas that I've been kicking around and trying to settle on which of those I'm gonna bring. I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun. We were talking earlier about and I guess Frank and Axel, you're in that chat, but this is going to be a harsh tournament. I mean, it's 16 players, 4 rounds, top 4.
Yeah, so that's unless you're winning every game, you're not getting in.
It's gonna be it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be pretty tight. It's gonna come down to like, did you fuck up in your sequencing? Did you fuck up at a point? Okay, it's over. And I'm
gonna be happy that this is like the tournament that matters. This is the tournament that like gets you so many prizes and all that. Like people are gonna be calling misplays out out the wazoo. No one's gonna you can review that. Oh, it's fine. Oh, even though that was in May, then you can still get that. That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like no one's gonna let you like get away with shit anymore. It's like just back like in regular old in-person tournament days.
Yeah.
Well, and I think this is honestly a more legitimate tournament than the Tournament of Power, and I'll say that. And the reason I think so is because of the format. Like it's not single limb. You don't know who you're playing beforehand. I've watched Kevin Dennis scout opponents for the last 2 Tournament of Powers, and and
Yeah.
be like, oh, I know exactly what Eric is running 2 years ago, and tech for it,
Yeah.
and plan for it. And that's not to
People.
take anything away from Kevin.
Well, I mean,
because
people have been
he's a player.
spectating and hawking over any Octo game that doesn't have spectators turned off, But I've
Oh, no,
also, to be fair, for me, I've been playing like a different deck every fucking game. So
same.
good luck figuring out what I'm gonna play,
Yeah, same.
You
There's a
know.
couple that I've been working with that I haven't even played on Octagon
Mm.
with spectators, so I'm just like, okay. I don't even know yet. So
Nick,
everybody thinks it's gonna be Ram Goku.
I feel bad assuming, yeah, but since me, Axel, and Brand are going to be in Tenkaichi Budokai, let's say that you were going to play the Tenkaichi Budokai, and given what we've talked about, the knowledge of the meta and the way that everything's come out, what would you be your pick if you were going to play in the UOP finals here?
I'd probably be playing something balls, something that can generate its own crits. If your MP can't generate crits, you're gonna suffer real hard to a lot of areas. And I think I'd probably be looking at Broly because I don't like Saiyan. I can't stand them. Terrible, nasty green people. I'd probably be playing some variant of the mischievous Broly. I like a lot of what it can do. It has its own reveal crit card. Black has some anger control, not a lot, not a great amount, but it's got some of it. And I also just really like the gimmick that you've got where you've got a black. Oh god, it's a card. It's got Boo, evil Boo in the picture. When revealed, they have to discard at random,
Yeah,
draw,
the
Oh
piercing
and then
yeah,
beam,
because you're
black piercing
mischievous,
beam.
mill, gain anger,
gets rid of an ally
and
or
then
attached card too. Yeah.
yeah, that also, and it's got lower their anger too. And if you've got 2 in hand, you reveal both of them. You go, nice, I'll have 2 anger. You can draw 2, mill 2. And then you've got the drill on board that reveals them again. And then your opponent is Kelly Dennis, and he plays a card that makes you reveal them again. And at that point, you've drawn another one. So you're like, oh, nice, Kelly, you can do this 3 more times. And just, yeah, keeps going. It was great.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think there are a lot of good decks out there. Obviously, we've all kind of had a little bit of some of us have kind of agreed in some areas about, the viability of certain decks. I think there are so many decks that are just on the cusp of being really good. They're just kind of like, there's definitely a tier of things that are like, holy heck,
I think he also
dumb.
needs some sort of board control, which is another reason to play Broly. He has it
I do
built
agree.
into his MP.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody playing Broly is going to play that level 2 though. I think all the Broly decks that
No,
are
but
doing
you've
really
got it
good
in
are
his named cards.
yeah, Eraser Cannon. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Eraser Cannon is. That's a fantastic card.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's hilarious because it quite literally erases. So
If the meta was more, if I was guaranteed to be playing against board, if I was guaranteed to be playing against anger, I would actually be willing to say I think Perceptive Gotenks has a shot against that type of meta.
Yeah.
You've got a whole lot of freestyle cards that Gotenks can abuse that destroy anger. They then become also board removal cards. And Gotenks has some built-in tech against things that are going on. For example, his level 1 has essentially a block on it that also helps you level. You can feed into Perceptive's different gimmicks that were there for TN that Gotenks can take advantage of. I don't know if it would actually be good, but it's an idea that I had in my head because yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. I think it's gonna be a really interesting tournament. I do agree with everyone's sentiment. It's gonna be really competitive. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I wish everybody the best of luck. Please don't beat me if I play against you. Like
no guarantees, man.
I just want to put either Videl or Future Gohan on another card if I can. That's really all I really want in life. Or B, I'll put B on there.
What's everyone thinking for their promo code if they win? Is that something we can talk about or?
Yeah, why not? You guys have any
this
idea?
No, yeah. I'm gonna
Sure.
we discovered today, and I'm upset about it, that I guess there's a Dev Blow promo that's being released right now.
I like it.
I was so like this whole time. My idea has been to have
Nut punch.
Android 13, nut punching Goku, and put that on DevBlow, and because that's so devastating. But now I don't even know if that's on the table for me anymore. So I've got to come up with something to put 13 dick punching Goku on. So
Axel, what do you think?
I honestly have not thought about like a promo. If I were to like get that far and like actually win the thing, then I would start like, oh god, what card do I really like? I mean, I would like maybe some better promo art for a Krillin card, or like Black's got enough like good promo looks, and one that I don't think is lacking is definitely Blue. I would love to like give Blue a little bit more love, but I don't have a card specifically in my head that I would want to like shoot for, because a lot of cards that I like love to like be that guy who ran in their deck, and it's like, why are you running this? It's like it's a gimmick, are like actually like really bad cards. So I have no personal like choice for one. Actually, no, surprise attack, but I think that one's getting a new promo if what I heard was correct.
Well, it already has one. It already had
It does.
Yeah, I forgot what the fuck the art is. Because there was a promo. There was a promo, and I forgot what the art is though. Oh my
Never
god.
mind, because that was an ultra rare that I absolutely like fell in love with, and I made the mistake of getting those instead of Unleashed whenever that was the two ultra rares competing, and I'm like, all right, I picked the wrong one.
Yeah. I've thought about. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I put Wheel on another card too, if I could. God, it's a tough choice. I really like DevBlow, but like, there's enough arts of DevBlow, especially if there's the one coming out, like Brandon was saying. I do really enjoy. Man, I'm trying to think of a card I really like. Halt is really cool and all, but like none of the people I'd want to put on it can go on it. I'd probably pick a red or Saiyan card though, is what I'd ultimately try to do. I just want.
Hang on, did you want?
Yeah.
Did you want specifically Future Gohan or just Gohan?
Future Gohan.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know about Videl. It kind of depends on the card. I could see black card being picked too, but yeah, I guess I've kind of.
Oh my god, I've got it. I've got it, Frank.
What do we
Android Arm Breaker with Future Gohan.
Oh yeah, that'd be perfect.
Oh god, too real, too real. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been thinking about it. I like red focus, right? Like I like the idea of like throwing art on red focus, but I've never played that card in the deck. So make with that what you will. I don't know. All right. I really like discussion. If real quick, I guess we'll just make a really quick set 15 predictions. I won't bring up the levels on the screen or anything. We've all seen the kind of the levels of the MPs. Do you think any of the new MPs are going to be competitive, like Cooler, Turles, or Slug?
Cooler, 100% Cooler. If for no other reason than Shane will play it.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it.
Time. Yeah, I plan on it.
I put it on.
I'd have been more excited on the Cooler before Warbreaker became much more
yeah
viable.
Well, he's got Nova can always knock it off. Worst case
Nova remains one of the best named cards in the game.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It's just, it does too much. It's like, why is this a thing? It's like Sandburst. It's the Sandburst of named cards.
Mr. Bailey, what about Turles? Do you like that new level 2? What was your thought about it?
I was a little like lukewarm about it at first, but coming around to it, I like the idea of being able to choose a specific card and banishing it, so they can't cycle time or any of like the hard blocks or like heavy attacks that you don't want to.
Is it any player's pile that you can banish from?
I think so. Yeah, choose a card.
Okay, so that's got some application. It's got some application in red at least.
And it buffs non-styled attacks too. So like that's something that I like didn't wrap my head around at first, but one that I'm like actually really excited that I think will help kind of curve this Dragon Ball meta that we're in right now is Slug level 2, because I've always been a fan of Slug, and I think his new level 2 is like where you're gonna want to be the entire game with him.
Call me crazy, I think the Slug 2 is the best of the 3 levels.
100%. It's got the most text.
I think that Slug 2 is the best of the three, but I also think
That cooler one
cooler
is
overall is just a better stack, and I think that's why it'll
Yeah.
it'll make more of an impact.
Yes.
I think Slug 1 is so hit and miss. Is like pretty miss. It's gonna make it really difficult because like, yeah, you get stuck on that one, you're fucked. But this new
Well, I
level
mean,
2, if you hit it, you're fucking rolling. You know what I
It
mean?
makes the Unleash nerf feel better for Slug.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, yeah. Especially
You know?
considering that he can, if you get stuck on the level, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all around better old 2. What
Tapion.
MPs? What's up? Tapion.
I said Tapion.
Yeah, I know. I was literally gonna say. What do you think MPs? Brandon, what MPs do you think are gonna come out?
I know a lot of people are saying that there might not be enough art, but I would be legitimately surprised if we don't see Gogeta. I mean, it's an iconic film. It's an iconic movie.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna get Janemba, Gogeta, Tapion. I think is confirmed.
Yeah, I think he's.
I don't know, man. So I think
Hirudegarn, man. I'd love to see a Hirudegarn.
Hirudegarn. I think we're gonna see Hirudegarn. Probably Hoi is an ally.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
would
interesting.
imagine. I bet we get.
Give us another
ally.
tag deck that's worth running. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I want better villain allies.
Me too. Me too.
Like it's clear that they've been afraid of Ginyu for so long.
Well, Joey said
allies name cards.
Joey did say Ginyu's gonna get some support. Confirmed.
Yeah, I hope he gets some new levels.
Yeah, but that won't be till his appearance in Super, surely.
Yeah, I'm sure.
God.
Oh man.
Which was awesome. Like that was
Callback.
Like, I think overall the films were better than the episodes, but that was a really cool moment in those episodes. So I mean, I'd like to see him
Nick,
do some stuff.
Nick, what do you think? What MPs? Or I feel bad. I'm gonna expand. Brandon can go back to it, but or like, what kind of themes you're gonna see pushed for the next set, too?
I honestly don't know. I think we might see an attached card that they were previously afraid of printing because Unleashed existed, and that now that Unleashed is as nerfed as it is, it might be more viable. I think there might be a more generic Saiyan Tracking Blast. Is that the one that?
Cool. Yeah.
Trailing Blast?
Yeah, that's the one.
One that keeps you from being de-leveled.
Interesting.
And it'll be called Ty Tracy's not being de-leveled card.
I've wanted to get him on a video. I was debating about trying to get him for this one. I don't know how much he's played. That's the only reason I didn't ask him, because he's got some pretty strong. He's got some interesting opinions. I actually agree with a fair amount of what he says. He's a cool guy. I've had a few tournament conversations. He's a really nice guy. Really cool guy. That's an interesting prediction. The touch card.
You know what, you asshole? Like, I see that comment down there, Nick. Like, it better not be sword. Like, I'm gonna be.
Oh yeah, Tapion's gonna have swords all over the place.
I know. It's like I know he's gonna be a sword MP, and I'm already upset about it. Like,
I don't think
dude does not swing the sword one time, not once.
Maybe he'll have a sword name card. I think that'd be totally perfect, and then just like no other, you know what I mean? Not built as long as his stack isn't sword based. If his name card is like, hey, it has sword in the title, totally fine. Dashing sword synergy, bam.
What if it's an attached card because the sword is attached?
Maybe.
I
thought I could see Ocarina, being the thing. But Axel, what do you think?
It should be.
Yeah, but what would it do? How do you make your Bard Tapion MP? How do you make that happen?
Okay, all right.
You know what? Have Ocarina be Saiyan Peace effect. When other player would level, you just instantly set each other to 0, because it's the whole idea is he's playing Ocarina to seal Hirudegarn back.
Ready? Here we go.
I'm ready.
I knew someone was gonna ask this.
Resource
Tapion's Ocarina.
Yeah.
Setup. Limit 2 per deck. Lightning Bolt. Use at the start of your opponent's turn. Your opponent cannot declare combat this turn. Power.
Ooh.
Your opponent must pass for his next action. Banish after use.
All right. Yep.
Because the Ocarina lulls them into not attacking you. There's
Give me it's considered styled, so I can use blue getaway synergy. The next time you use a setup,
Please?
styled setup, gets the skip.
Yeah.
So then you go bam, skip, attack, skip.
Yeah.
And
I know that
All
that's
right.
like that's definitely a powerful effect. You know, I think that would all make us hate ourselves.
well, I mean, I don't know
think
if
it would
I'd.
fight the aggro meta.
I don't know. I don't know if I'd want it. I guess I'd have to. I don't know. A cool effect. Interesting idea. What do you
You like you draw your 3. I make like it's the opposite of 16 statement card.
planet? Yeah,
Like
it's
16 makes them attack. You make them pass combat. You know. And you can use it in combat if you'd rather, not make them skip a declare step. I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting. What do you think, Alex?
I've never seen Wrath the Dragon, but I like Harudagon's design. I'm excited about that. I'm really curious what they're gonna do for Janemba, because if they're not gonna do it for Tapion, they're definitely gonna do it for
Sword
him.
MP.
But yeah, because he swung the sword more, but I would like to see a different like archetype for it, but I know it's not going to happen because I think
See,
Janemba
I'm
is
actually
basically just another Boo, essentially.
more against Janemba being a sword MP than Tapion being a sword MP, because Janemba's whole thing is that he's got all this magic and shit going on.
Yeah, and that magic.
Why
is
would you
pretty
limit
much
it
a sword?
into
He
just
teleports and he swords things.
I wanted to play with
Yeah, I
Banished Zone.
guess.
I wanted to be Banished Zone MP. I
think
something.
that would be amazing.
I
That's a great
liked
idea.
like Retro Z had it where like every time you use like a Banish after use card, like or it was like every time you use Banish after use to like Endurance, you'd like put a card under his stack, and then like as a power on some of his levels, it'd be like take a card from your hand, put it under the stack, take a card from the stack, put it in your hands, and that was I would love to see that in some sort of aspect. I think that'd be super
That's a
cool.
really cool design. That's kind of fun.
Or even if it was just like, oh, you can take a card from your Banished Zone and put it in your hands. I think that'd be incredibly like as a styled card, obviously, or something. But, some sort of like Goku 4 effect on a lower level,
I would
Well,
like.
I do like the idea of both of them having like a sword named card.
Yeah, but give them both a sword name card.
And you can search for it with aggressive sword drill, like if
Yeah, both a sword name card, but like no sword based stacks. So Deborah still has his archetype of sword combo, whereas like the other two could like play sword stuff if they wanted to for combo of some sort.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be cool. Sorry, Axel.
No, you're fine. I thought about it a little more. I hope that they make Janemba something of a tank, because him being so big and fat.
You mean Oh, sure. I want a Harudagarn to be a tank.
Yeah, I would like that.
I want Harudagarn to just be like every time you use Endurance, or like first time you use Endurance, you just rejuvenate. Like give him like same protection drill effect. Give him a rejuve when he uses Endurance on a card the first time or something from an attack on like his level 4. Just make him fucking unkillable.
Yeah, and
I'm like keeping my fingers crossed for like a Videl level 2.
Oh
like,
god,
this is like
give me
great
Saiya Woman Videl level 2, please, please.
Yes.
If they didn't do it in like Broly, I'm like,
yeah, I don't think
sure they would do it now. But like Janemba being like a tank, I want a defensive NP in this game, like a true defensive NP, not a Roshi. I want like.
What about PyCon? Does PyCon do that?
No, there's not a single MP level other than Trunks level 2 that stops an attack.
I want a big bulky.
Yamcha 1.
Goku and Vegeta couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
like Trunks is just a block. There's not a single MP other than him.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe like the first 2 levels, Fat Janemba, and then 3 and 4, which would like kind of screw with the archetype. But we'll see if they're gonna like just make his fat the base level 1, and then everything else is new Janemba sword archetype. Who knows?
Sword. He gets to be the sword MP. I've just created.
Yeah.
Just do it like they did with just have 3 different stacks of Janemba. Why not?
Fuck it.
I'm still mad that we only got like 1 Cell level 4.
Yeah. Oh, Cell. Cell is just a different topic for a different day, but lost. Him and Frieza both are just lost potential. They just got they got okay stacks, but
at least
but Frieza's gonna be coming back. Whereas no one remembers Cell in Japan, apparently.
They didn't like him. Like he was very unpopular in Japan, and he was super popular in the U.S. I don't know what happened. It was his individualistic, rugged spirit.
Look, it's okay. When we get to Moro,
he evolved by his own bootstraps.
In all of his names.
Yep. Pulled himself up, stomped on people. He manifested his destiny. That's really what happened.
Well, guys, I really appreciate all the commentary. I really enjoyed the discussion. It's really, whoops, I almost fell out of my chair. It was really great to have this kind of discussion with people again. It's been so long. I know a lot of people don't always get to do this regularly. So hopefully everyone that's watching this, and if you did make it to the end, you find it enjoyable. I really think this is worth watching and continuing. I still have my grievances with the game, which I didn't really get into, but I do really enjoy this game still, and I love everybody that I met through it. So, if you guys want to have like any send off words, you can speak your mind right now.
I think we all have grievances. Like, I think that's what happens when you're in love.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you're getting kind of fat, honey, but
But
Yeah.
I still love you.
No. Yeah, no, but I've really appreciated everything, guys. Again,
Cheers for having me on.
yeah,
We
no,
appreciate that, man.
Also, you guys for making the for taking the switch to today, because I know you wanted to do it 2 days ago.
Oh, I was just trying to find a matter of availability, really. I was just trying to find.
I was highly inconvenienced, but you're welcome.
Okay, I'm not actually apologizing to you.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
I'm extending the hand of American friendship to you.
Yeah.
Uncultured swine.
A pact of mutual assistance. But no, I appreciate it. I'm glad you got to participate. With the whole time zone difference, especially. So. And Mr. Axel, a guy that I always play against online. It's good to have you in for the video. Brandon.
Sultry voice,
Oh, I know.
I'm jealous of Frank and Axel's voices.
I have a real goof voice. I feel like I fluctuate between like a deep Midwestern sort of accent, and then I'll also try to actually speak proper to really enunciate very well. I just kind of
you have like a porn star voice, Frank. Don't hate it.
Yeah, well.
My voice sucks for interviews because I call them up. Oh yeah, I'll see y'all today. Who's this little boy? I thought I was hiring a man.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everything. I'm gonna cut the video off here. Thanks for everybody for watching. I hope you guys enjoy it and take it easy. Peace. And that's the video.